Hello everyone, welcome back to Pabbly. In this video, we are going to learn how to create PDF reports and documents with Airtable and Pabbly Connect. So I run a small apparel store and I want that whenever somebody is going to place an order over there, I am going to create a record in my Airtable with all the order details. And as soon as the order record will be created, then immediately an invoice should be generated with the help of Google Docs for that same customer for that same order. So how we are going to automate this entire process? For this, we will have to set up a connection between these two applications, and that we are going to do without the requirement of any coding and programming skills with the help of Pabbly Connect. So if you also want to learn this amazing automation step by step, for that you have to come towards my screen. So in this video, we are going to learn how to automatically create documents with the help of Airtable and Google Docs. So here I run an apparel store where I am sending handmade crafted jewelry, accessories and clothing. So because it's a small online store, I want that whenever a product will be sold and an order will be placed, then immediately I am going to add the details of that same order over here in my Airtable database, because I'm using Airtable in order to manage all the details related to the orders. And I want that as soon as I will enter the details over here, immediately an invoice should be generated for that same order, for that same customer, along with all the details such as quantity purchased, item which is being purchased, per unit price of each of the product, okay, and the details of the customer. And for this, I have already generated a template with the help of Google Docs. That is my invoice template. And I want that as soon as the order will be placed on my store and the data will be added in Airtable, then immediately the invoice should be created automatically for that order with the help of this template. So this is my template which I have created for the invoice, which contains the details of my store. Unique Waves is the name of my store. Here's the address and all of the details. And these are the details related to the customer, the product which he has purchased, the quantity, unit price, and the total amount. Now here you can see that in this invoice, some of the details are given under two curly braces. This means that I have entered them like a variable. So because we are going to use the same template for generating multiple invoices, multiple documents automatically, so we do not have to change the details again and again manually for each of the customer. But whenever the order will be placed, the details according to the customer will automatically get changed. Okay, so in this way we have to automate this process with the help of variables in the template. So we are going to use this template for generating the documents automatically. And how we are going to automate this entire process? For that, we have to set up the connection between our Airtable database and Google Docs, where we have created the template. So as soon as the details will be added over here in the database, the document will be created, the invoice will be generated for that order with the help of Pabbly Connect. So we are going to set up this connection with the help of Pabbly Connect, that too without any coding or programming skills. This is the homepage of Pabbly Connect, where we can reach by tapping the URL pabbly.com/connect in our browser. After coming over here, you will find two options: sign in and sign up for free. In case if you are already an existing user, so you can simply click on sign in. But if you are a new user, you have to click on the sign up for free button, which is going to create your free new account just in 2 minutes. And also you will be able to receive 100 free tasks then every month in order to explore this amazing software and to test multiple automations. Now because I'm already an existing user, so I'm going to click on sign in option. This is all app section where we can find all the products which are offered by Pabbly. To create this automation, we are going to use Pabbly Connect. So let's click on access now. And it has taken us towards the dashboard of Pabbly Connect. So on this dashboard, we can find all our workflows which we have created, and we can also create different folders over here to save our workflows accordingly. Now to create a new workflow, we have to click on this create workflow option. Now we have to first of all give a name to our workflow in this dialog box. So let's do that. Create PDF reports and documents with Airtable and Pabbly Connect. After giving the name, here I am going to select the folder in which I want to save my workflow. You can see I have multiple folders over here. So I'm going to select a specific folder in which I want to save my workflow. That will be automations for e-commerce store. I have selected my folder and now I'm going to click on create. In this way, you can also create different folders for creating and saving your workflow separately on your dashboard. Now, as we have done that, we can see that two windows are open in front of us. First is the trigger and the other is action. So what are trigger and actions? Trigger and actions are the two main concepts, the principles, or we can say these are the building blocks of the entire automation. Here the trigger says when this happens and the action says do this. That means the action is the response towards our trigger. So whatever we are going to select in our trigger is going to command the entire workflow, and the actions are going to follow that same command. Therefore, we can have only one trigger in any workflow, but we can add as many action steps as we want. Let's suppose here my objective is that whenever I'm going to add the order detail in my Airtable account, then immediately the invoice should be created for that order for that customer. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take Airtable in my trigger and Google Docs in my action. So here when we are going to set up the connection between these applications, we can clearly see that action is going to follow that trigger. So whatever the trigger is going to command, that means when the data will be entered in Airtable, then only according to these details, the invoice will be generated inside Google Docs, otherwise not. So after understanding the whole concept of trigger in action, let us start creating our workflow step by step to complete our automation. So first of all, in order to start the workflow, we have to go towards our trigger step, and here we have to select our trigger application. So trigger application over here will be Airtable. Let's quickly select that. And after selecting the application, now we also have to select the trigger event. We have multiple options over here. Now trigger event is the event on the happening of which the workflow is going to trigger or start. You can see that we have multiple options. I want that whenever a new record will be added in my Airtable database, then I want to capture the response. So we have selected new record as our trigger event. Now as we have done that, we have to click on connect to build the connection. Now for building the connection, I'm going to go with add new connection to build a new and fresh connection with Airtable account. But in case if you already have an existing connection, you can also go with that. Now to create the new connection, we will simply click on connect with Airtable, and you have to keep in mind that you are already logged into your account before making this connection, because it is going to make our connection easy and effortless. Now Pabbly Connect is asking us for the access of our Airtable account. It is 100% safe, so we can definitely give that without any fear. First of all, we have to select the base for which we want to provide the access. So we are going to click on add a base. Now to provide the access, we are going to click on all current and future bases in all current and future workspaces. As we have done that, now we are going to click on grant access. And here we can see that our authorization is successful and our connection is made with Airtable and Pabbly Connect. Now we'll move forward. Now first of all, we have to select the base name. So the name of my base is Unique Weaves Order Details. As you can see, Unique Weaves is the name of my store. So I'm going to simply select that same base over here. And as we will do that, as we will select our base, the table will also be selected because I have only created one table. So we are working in this table 1 and it is already selected over here. So before moving forward and clicking on save and send test request button, now it is given in the important note which you have to read and follow carefully. To capture the trigger response for the action new records, you will first need to create a field in your table schema with the field name created and set its filter type as created time. You can see that here I have already done that. I have created the field with the name as created at last of all the fields, and I have given the field type as, you can see, created time. Okay. When we'll do that, we'll go back towards Pabbly Connect. And now we are going to click on save and send test request button. Now before moving forward towards that, I also have to tell you one more important thing, that Airtable is based on 10 minutes polling time. Polling time is the time which Pabbly Connect is going to take for capturing the new response every time. So because we have 10 minutes of polling time over here, so we are going to receive the response in every 10 minutes inside Pabbly Connect whenever we are going to add a new record in Airtable. Now currently when we are going to click on save and send test request button, we are going to receive the last data which was entered in our table. So this is the last data and the latest data. You can see dummy user, these are all the details. So we are going to receive the response of this data which was added. Okay, so let's click on save and send test request button. And here we can see that we have received the response. In this response, you can see we have received the ID of the record. This is the per unit price which is given inside the record. Okay, here's the quantity which is being purchased, phone number of the customer, the item which he has purchased, email address, the date on which the order is being placed, name, and the created field, date and time. This means that our connection is absolutely successful between Airtable and Pabbly Connect. So now whenever a new record will be entered inside our Airtable, immediately after 10 minutes the response will be captured inside Pabbly Connect. So once we have set up this connection, our objective is to create the invoice for this customer and for the order. So for that, I'm going to set up the connection between Google Docs and Pabbly Connect. So we are going to create the invoice every time automatically with the help of this invoice template. Okay, so for that, we are going to click on this add action step button. And here we need to select our action application, that will be Google Docs. So we have selected that. Now after selecting the application, our action event will be create document from template, as we are going to use a template for creating and generating the documents every time automatically. So here we have the action event as create document from template. Let's click on connect. After doing this, because I've already built a connection with my Google Docs account, so I'm going to go with the existing connection only. In case if you want to create a new connection, you can go towards add new connection button. Then you have to click on sign in with Google and make sure you are logged into your account also. Now I'm going to click on save. As we have done that, we can see that Google Docs is successfully connected with Pabbly Connect. So we'll move forward towards entering the details over here. First of all, we have to select the template document name. That means the name of the template which we have created inside Google Doc to generate the invoice. So I have already selected the template document name. So the template document name is already selected over here, invoice template, but you can select your own from the drop down. Now the next is the new document's name. What should be the name of the new document which you are creating? So we are not creating just a single document, but we are going to create multiple such documents automatically, and we are not going to enter the name again and again manually. So what we are going to do, we will simply enter a name which will be changing each time with each and every new response. So the document name will be invoice for, and here I'm simply going to enter the name of the customer for which we are creating this invoice, and we have already received the name and all of the details of the customer in our earlier response, so we will simply use that response. What we will do, we will simply select the name which we have received in the earlier response, and it will be mapped over here. When we insert the data from our previous response, it is called as mapping, and we map a data, it becomes dynamic. That means with each and every new response, it is going to replace automatically. So now when we have mapped this name of the customer, whenever a new response will be captured from Airtable, when a new order will be placed and the response will be captured, immediately the name over here in this field is going to replace with the new name of that new customer. And in this way, our invoice will be generated for each of the customer with a unique name. Now we'll move forward towards new documents location. So here we have to select the docket. So here we also have to select the location where we want to save all these documents. So I'm going to select invoice over here. Okay. Now the next is customer's name, email, phone number. All these fields are the same which we have in our invoice template in two curly braces. So these details are automatically going to be replaced when we will map them. So what we will do, we will simply enter all these details one by one. Let's start with the name. Here we have the name of the customer, dummy user. Here we have the email address of this same customer. Then we have the phone number as well. Here we have the date on which we are creating this record. Here we have mapped the date. Now the item name which is being ordered, quantity which is being purchased, unit price of each of the product, and here is the total amount. So the total amount will be the multiplication of the quantity which is purchased and the unit price of each of the product. How we are going to get that total amount? For that we have to use a simple math operation, and that can be also made with the help of Pabbly Connect. So let's click on this add action step button in between, and now we are going to perform the math operation. That is, we are going to multiply the quantity and the amount with the help of number formatter. So let's select our action application in between as number formatter. Here our action event will be perform math operation, and we will simply click on connect. Now we have to enter the numbers which we want to operate. Here my number will be the quantity that is being ordered and the per unit price of each of the product. So what we will do, we will simply enter the per unit price, then we will use a comma and we will enter the quantity. It is given in the example that enter your numbers here. You can enter the comma separated values to perform the operations. For example, it is given in the instance that if you want to add 100 and 200, then you do not have to enter them like that, 100 plus 200. You simply have to enter 100 comma 200, and then you have to select the operation which you want to perform. We have already done that. I want to perform multiplication, so I have selected the operation multiply. Now we are going to get the response of 500 into 4. In this way, we do not have to do the calculations each time manually. Everything will be automated. Okay, the process will be fully automated. Now we are going to click on save and send test request button. And here we have received the response, that is 2000. That means 500 into 4 is equal to 2000. Every time whenever the product will be purchased, in the same manner the math operation will work. So I'm going to map this total amount over here which the customer have to pay. Then when we are going to click on save and send test request button, now here we have the response. In this response, this is the document ID you can see. So when I'm going to go back towards Google Docs, and here we can see that the invoice is generated. And in this response and in this invoice, you can see that all the details are replaced. This is the name, here is the date of the invoice, here is the email address of the customer, phone number, the item which he has purchased, quantity, unit price, total amount, and the final total amount. Okay, this means that our connection is absolutely successful. So now whenever I'm going to add a new row over here, automatically after 10 minutes an invoice will be generated for that same row. So let us check. I'm going to add a new row with new details over here. Let's say this time the name of the customer is test customer, and let's say the email of this customer is test@pabblytudes.com. Here I'm going to enter a random phone number for this customer, the date, the item which is being purchased, let's say sari, quantity is let's say 2, and the per unit price of each of the item is 2000. Okay, so let's go and check after 10 minutes whether the invoice for this particular order is created automatically inside Google Docs or no. For that, we have to wait for 10 minutes. And yes, after 10 minutes, the invoice is ready. Here, this is the invoice for test customer. The name of the document is automatically changed. All the details are replaced over here. You can see the name is changed to test customer. Here's the email address, date, mobile number. And here's the item is also changed, sari, quantity, unit price, and the total amount is already over here. This means that our connection and our workflow is absolutely successful. So let's quickly summarize what we have done in the entire workflow. We have set up a simple connection between Airtable and Google Docs in such a way that whenever a new record will be added in Airtable, then immediately a document will be created inside Google Docs for that same record, and the details will automatically change with the help of template. In the same manner, you can create a template, a specific template for each of the requirement which you are creating. In the same manner, you can create a template in Google Docs for any of the requirement in the same manner, you can create a template inside Google Docs for any of the requirement for which you are creating this automation. And once your record will be added in Airtable, immediately according to that template, a new document will be created inside Google Docs. Further, you can also add some other action steps over here for sending this document to the person who has placed the order, or for sending the document to the person for whom you're creating by adding Gmail, WhatsApp, or even you can add Google Chat space over here in the action step for sending the documents generated to your team members on Google Chat. Okay, so I hope this video was helpful for you. Thank you for watching. Not only these applications, but you can integrate multiple such applications without any coding or programming skills with the help of Pabbly Connect. Now, if you have any doubt, you can reach out to us at support@pabbly.com. If you want to ask any query, you can reach out to us at forum.pabbly.com. And if you have any pricing related issue, you can reach out to the website given over here. Now, if you find this video helpful, do not forget to share it with your friends. And also, please like our video and subscribe our channel for more such amazing automations.